Yo, what is up guys, Bobby7 King here, back again with another video, and in this video we will be talking about episode 19 and 20 of this Venture Camp Carnival of Chaos. This review will be different from my previous reviews as I won't really be going into too much detail of episode 19 and 20 like I normally do with the past episodes where I normally just give a rundown. I'll just be expressing my entire thoughts on the strategy and ranking the characters, so yeah, let's just get straight into it. And in all honesty, episode 19 was probably Carnival of Chaos at its peak. With Spencer the Screenhog gone, we finally got content all around with all these characters, and with no more social pariahs, the gameplay really feels extremely fluid. The girls' alliance was fracturing with two clear sides, and Amelie and Hannah were in the middle, but even then the latter pair was conflicted in where to go, making it all the more enticing. The challenge was amazing. I love the fuck-ass robot because the animation looked extremely sick, and also the challenge created division between Amelie and Hannah, and we got to see Hannah break down and Amelie give Hannah the same word of advice that she gave her earlier on in the season. In the end though, we finally saw Isabel's idol actually pay off in one of the best and flashiest moves I've ever seen. Knowing Anastasia could beat Marissa in anything, she sent them into a tiebreaker, and once Anna won, she was mentally defeated. Combine that with Jade building a bond with Logan, I really thought Isabel, Jade, Logan, and Zayd were going to run the other three out of the game, and I was honestly pretty excited to see it. Unfortunately though, this isn't how episode 20 was. Look, I've been insanely positive on season 4 as it is truly a peak season in my opinion, but this episode showed me a lot of its flaws. That being how the show really does try to paint Anastasia in this heroic light. And look, I do love Anastasia and I always love the more sympathetic villain edit they've given her, but this episode was just not it. It's weird how Anastasia gets away with how she broke Ivy's shoulder and Zayd never mentions this. She also leaves Zayd out to dry multiple times in the game, but the show never holds her accountable for that. And while this episode does show Zayd at its best, it's him at his most cuck-worthy side character moments. Again, him acting like Isabel is the devil for what she did, and while I might be too tunnel focused on gameplay, but for Zayd's game, Marissa going honestly makes his game so much better as now he has Anastasia all to himself. Also, the fact that Anastasia wasn't even talking to you, he shouldn't really be lashing out on Isabel for this. And while what Isabel did was morally questionable, and by the way, you guys should not be looking at me to say what is the moral choice in a social strategy game, but whatever. Again, this was ultimately one of the better outcomes for Zayd's game. He literally just lashes out on Isabel and acts like Anastasia is a saint when we all know she isn't. During this really fun challenge of how well you know the camper, Zayd decides to make sure Isabel loses, which while this is a smart move, you should also be trying to make sure Anastasia loses as well, as if she somehow wins the challenge, you'll automatically be voted off as you really have no one in the game but Logan at this point, but then again, as we see, he gets taken out anyways even though Anastasia or Isabel don't win the challenge. This challenge also showed me two other things strategically, that one, Jade is really good at forming social bonds, or not really social bonds, but she does have a good memory of these people, and Elise isn't a complete game bot in the game. The other thing I noticed is that Logan is really good at forming social bonds just as quickly as Zoe from Total Drama, as we do see Logan and Hannah bond during the challenge, and while we're just talking about gameplay for now, I actually did find it pretty cute, and I really hope it leads to the Hannah curse striking again, as we'll later talk about Logan just being a complete dumbass. So yeah. Anyways, Jade wins the challenge, and Anastasia does go to Amelie, Logan, and Hannah to ask about who told Jade about the Isabel vote, and Logan pins it on Zayd, which there's a lot that went through my head when this happened. As one, you could just lie saying you don't know and keep pushing for Isabel since Jade has an advantage, and you should want to make sure that duo is powerless if you are going to go against them. Logan exposing Zayd not only hurts his positioning, but it also gives Amelie and Hannah full control of the game, but also makes sure that he has no true agency and can't strategically move for himself. Instead, the pairs will move for him. This was a really bad move on Logan's part, and I hate him for it, but let's talk about why it's a dumb move for everyone else to take out Zayd, as it really doesn't really benefit anyone. For Anastasia, obviously losing Zayd, the only person you could really trust, I mean, I don't really have to say anything else for why this is dumb. She really should have spoke to him before going into Tribal. While I understand Hannah and Amelie don't trust Zayd, them voting him off was way too soon in my opinion. Keeping two physically strong people in Logan and Anastasia only hurts their chances in the endgame, and also not making Jade use her advantage was just so wild in my opinion. Amelie is for sure in the best spot in the game, but with the plot armor that we will be talking about, I'm not too sure that will remain the case. I guess since we just talked a lot about gameplay, let's just talk about the future of the game at this point. With Hannah and Amelie, they should be safe, as I don't see Jade and Isabel wanting to work with Anastasia, and they don't really want Logan out just yet. So I think for right now, I think they should be safe in the game. Jade and Isabel are probably the pair most in danger, since Isabel made a crazy ass move, and Jade also has an advantage that these people are probably going to worry about either now or extremely soon. So yeah. Again, Logan should be safe since he's a dumbass and also good at challenges, and also is pretty good with the people left in the game to where I don't think they would want to vote him off just yet. And also, since he's the only guy left, I feel like Odd Nations would probably want to keep him around just for like one round later. Anastasia is a weaker social pride than Spencer, so while I think she could be an instant target, who the hell knows really. And that covers the gameplay, so let's just cover these character dynamics and my thoughts on them individually, starting off with the two boots, Marissa and Zaid. And for Marissa, I've already said a good chunk about my thoughts on her since she's already been eliminated, and I've given her a good chunk of shoutouts in my episode reviews. Not much has changed, I still love her, and it was nice to see her play more strategically like she did when she exposed Spencer for being the catalyst for the Richard boot. Other than that though, her and Anastasia are perfect, and the tiebreaker scene really broke me, as I really love these two and their chemistry together is quite perfect in my opinion. Their confession that they love each other trumps any Tom, Jake, or Jaden moment for me, so yeah, they're my all-time favorite couple from this Venture Camp, and probably my all-time favorite couple in general if we include Next Generation or Total Drama, because realistically for Total Drama ships, I'm pretty low on most of them. Outside of Alla Heather, there's not one that I truthfully have a very strong opinion about. And for Next Generation, while we do have the likes of Danny and Megan, Ron and Georgia could have been, but then again, they break up in Comeback Cruise, so yeah. For Ivy's boyfriend, I'm really conflicted. I wanted to like him, and I still do like him. The issue comes in the fact that in the later episodes, he really just becomes Anastasia's number 2 fan, or just grumpy that she doesn't talk to him. By the way, Ivy's boyfriend is 30 years old and perfectly capable of just talking to her about his discontent with her, but he never does. Again, I honestly prefer him and Ivy together since these two play off each other very well. This season wasn't his, and while Ivy's boyfriend is likable and definitely had funny moments, I just don't feel like giving him a complete rundown just because in my opinion it just feels unearned because he didn't really deserve it. Don't get me wrong, I definitely feel for his backstory, but again, we already have a character so codependent on his mama, and that was DJ, who was already ruined in the later seasons of Total Drama. Alright, now that we're done talking about the eliminated contestants, I will be ranking the 6 players left based on my enjoyment, so yeah, let's just get straight into it. Yeah, Logan is in dead last. He really sucks. Again, he really is the love child between Tom, Jake being a complete jacked dumbass with the same brain lobotomy that Wayne from the reboot has, with him just making jokes that are just really childish or also just really unfunny. I have nothing nice to say about this character anymore, and I don't care that he has a big fan base, and I'll voice my anger towards him. Logan is a hypocritical baby. He claims that he doesn't mind Natalia flipping, but gets mad at Spencer for leaking information, which he later does to Zaid, framing it as a game move, which, I mean, just be so fucking for real. Again, Logan, just be so fucking for real. Again, Logan, don't give me those damn baby tears, because that only works for your stans who I either believe are children or people who just think you're hot, which while the latter is true, that doesn't excuse your annoying actions. And if you say, I'm not a child and I like Logan, I just think you have bad taste. Moving on. Alright, everyone in the final 5 I actually have a really high opinion on. The next character we will be talking about is Amelie. And look, Total Drama Joseph, if you're watching this, I am sorry. But I've just seen the other characters for longer, and objectively, they are the main characters of the season. Amelie has been doing a lot of cool game moves on her own, and while that is interesting, she's still just directly attached to Hannah. And while I have no problems with characters being attached to someone else, if I'm going to be ranking them based on how much I like them, they will fall a bit short just because of that reason. I love how she's been working on Isabel and Jade, and now that she has Logan trapped, it seems, I know she'll shoot up higher on my ranking. But for now, I think it's actually safe to just put her here at number 5. See guys, I can talk about Amelie without mentioning the fact that she's hot and I'm beating those allegations. Watch. Next up is surprisingly Anastasia, and look, I do love her, and overall she probably is my favorite character of the season, but episode 20 annoyed the hell out of me. Again, her ending scene with Marissa was absolutely beautiful in episode 19, but the ending scene with Zaid was absolutely terrible and tanks her on the list. She doesn't speak to someone she seemed to have considered a friend, and I'd expect this from villains like Alinda, who is chaotically evil, and Spencer, who is babishly evil, but not Anastasia since she's been strategically smarter than that. Honestly, the Zaid boot rubbed me the wrong way. Reason why she's higher than Amelie is just because of the roast that she gave Isabel, which was honestly really funny, and I absolutely loved that entire scene.
Ooh, get her, Anastasia! Any more burns?
Like I'd waste my breath on one who is literally beneath me.
Honestly, I just love Jade during episode 20, and her reaction to winning the challenge was honestly really cute, so yeah. Can you guys tell I'm easily pleased when it comes to the season, and also when it comes to just characters in general? Again, I also love the scene where she does talk to the Ginger about how looking at the ocean gives her peace, especially with her turtle. Again, I just love Jade overall as a character, and these past 2 episodes have been really great. Hannah's arc is really amazing. I love the heel turn that she's going into, from being an underdog hero to a cutthroat anti-hero. What I don't love and why she's at number 2 is mostly just because she constantly has Benji's meat and balls in her mouth, and it's honestly just not that interesting to watch when she constantly, or it's not the fact that it's uninteresting, it's just pretty annoying because she constantly mentions it, and it's just pretty hypocritical, especially using that to Zayd and also just to other players in general when you know she's done the same thing to other people. So again, I really love the scene where she actually just completely lashes out, like saying how she's losing every single fight. I just really found her voice actor to be pretty incredible while delivering that scene, and just in general, it really does make me sympathize with Hannah overall as a character. I may not love all of her actions, but I do understand and respect where she's coming from. Number 1 has to be Isabelle. Again, she was fantastic in episode 19 with a brutal and amazing move, only foiled by this cast being complete hypocrites and emotional babies. Not to mention that I love her friendship with Jade, as we see in episode 19 that she doesn't even want to flip on Jade even when Amelie asked her if she would be down for that. In episode 20, she confides in Jade also about the Marissa move. I really like the fact that Isabelle is an amazingly written, morally great character. She was great in episode 20, and I love how she reacts to Zayd calling her wicked. It makes her feel more human and relatable, and honestly, I just really like the direction that they're going with her character. And yes, that's why she is still my winner pick at this point in the season, despite the gameplay layout not being in her favor, and the fact that I still see Logan and Hannah as a predictable finalist. But I think that Isabelle is one of the best to ever play, and I think that honestly she can move past it. And that's all I had to say about the characters. The leftover thoughts on these past few episodes. Episode 19 is by far my favorite episode of the season, but episode 20 is probably around the bottom just due to the cast just being massive hypocrites. Again, I can't give the excuse that it's like earlier on in the season. Like, these characters should know better by now, or at least be better at communicating. So yeah, it's probably ranked around the bottom. If not around the bottom, then probably in dead last. So yeah, there's that. But still, this season is by far my favorite season of this Venture Camp, and I'm really loving where the season is going. And that is the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all so much for staying around on the channel. Tomorrow is my birthday, and prepare for me to talk about Sonic TDI. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and peace out.